everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson's Soapery. Let's get into a video on making a gorgeous slab mold, and this one is a water lily inspired soap. So let's go and have some fun today. So now we do have our two little bowls here, and we are going to mix up some mica in here. So today I want to do a little bit of my orange and coral that's going on the top. And if you can't get the right colour, the best thing to do is actually mix a couple micas. You will need to sort of play around with what's going to work well and what's not going to work. But I've got this gorgeous corally colour, and it has got a beautiful shimmer as well. This is a tablespoon because it's going to go in quite a big mix. I'm actually making 8 kilos of soap in one go today for my wholesale order. And then I do have a gorgeous saffron kind of colour. So this is the saffron, but I'm only going to put a little bit because I don't really want a lot in there. I just want to make this corally colour a little bit more vibrant because it's very, very muted. So now we're going to just mix up some oils. So I do have a pot above, and I'll just take some oils out of there, which these are the oils that I have already popped in here for my recipe. So I'm just going to give this one a bit of a mix. And this one here is one of my wholesale ones. This one I call Lily Pond, and it's just like, you know, a water lily sort of fragrance. It has lots of different fragrances in it actually. It has some raspberry in it, some tropical fruit, some orchid, just a really, really a beautiful soap. And what I want to do is make the bottom to be like sort of blue, and this will go with the pattern that I use. And then the top is going to be this coral, and I'm going to have little sort of bits of yellow, which would represent the flowers going through the blue bit. So here I've got another container, and I'm going to be using this yellow. If anybody wants to know, these all are sud off colours. So this one's called Once in a Lemon, and I'm just not going to add too much, like 2 teaspoons of this one. And your basic recipe, if you don't really understand how to colour things, the suggestion is 1 tablespoon per every 500 grams of oil, but that would give you a really strong color. So if you don't want the color that strong, just obviously mute it all down. So now I've got the oils in here. You can add a tiny bit of oil. It's not going to really ruin your recipe too much, but I do sort of suggest that, you know, try and use the ones out of the recipe if you've already measured them up, and pop them in your container, because then you're just going to take it out of it and you know that the recipe is exactly as it should be. And it's definitely better just to mix them, because you can see like how this is really smooth. But if you start to just pop this straight into the full recipe, then that's when little disasters can happen as well. So now I've got that done. And also I wanted just to say something about fragrance, because I have lots of questions. Please measure your fragrance and make sure you're adhering to the fragrances. So in here, I know this jar looks very big, but this is actually a tiny little jar, and there's about 180 grams of fragrance, but I am actually using 8 kilos or 8,000 grams of oil. So obviously that is not that bad. You can go up to 5%. I usually stick around 2.5% for my fragrance oils, and that means fragrance per kilo. So you need to make sure that you're adhering to the fragrances that you should be using. And every supplier is totally different. So just check that out. And I've made a bit of a mess. So let's clean that up, and then we'll get up to the next colour. Now here we have another colour here. I'm just going to use this big measuring jar, and I'm going to use this gorgeous blue. So let me get a tablespoon and we'll be on to this one. So once again, I'm going to just pop some oils into here and then pop in my colour. You can do it either way. There's no right or wrong. And so this one can have quite a bit of oil. It doesn't matter, because this is the main one to go into the main bit as well. And if you're going to put titanium dioxide, I usually add that in with the lye. And I have actually added that in with the lye just to sort of lighten it down a tiny bit. And then inside here, like you can see, that's basically, you know, like I said, your your micas with the oils, and of course then we're going to mix them up, and until you actually mix them they will stay separated. They will not join in until you get to that bit. All right, so we have got them all ready. So here is the colours that I'm going to use for this soap, which will make a gorgeous looking soap. So let's get on to the oils, popping the lye in and mixing it. I do have a massive container because, as I said, this is a big one and it's going to go into a slab mould. So before we do anything else, let's organise it. And I always use coconut oil, cocoa, shea butter, some beautiful olive oil, sweet almond oil, castor oil, sodium lactate to help it come out of the mould, and so on. But pop any soaping thing that you want to go back through soap calc and see how you go as well. And it's just totally individual what you want to do. But one thing I forgot is the sodium lactate. So I'm going to just add 2 cups in, which is about 2 tablespoons for this big mixture. And it's just a salt-derived product. It will help it release better from the mold. Usually you add this in about at 1% of your full oil mass. So, you know, just work out what your 1% is and then obviously add that into this. So now that's all done, everybody. Let's get some lye and we're going to organise the next bit. Now, because this is a massive pot and my little blender is not too big, it will fit for sure, but it's still not very big. I'm going to just pop the lye straight in there. Usually you wouldn't do this. You'd pour it over the stick just to try and get out any sort of bubbles and things like that. But let me just do this bit as well. So I'm just going to pour this in here. Make sure there's no children or pets or anything like that when you're adding lye in. Easily, if you just slip or anything happens and a dog is under your feet, then basically what can actually happen is you're literally burning your poor little dog. So please make sure your dogs, cats, anything are out of the way. All right, so now it is in here. We'll give it a bit of a mix. Obviously, you need to wear gloves and glasses when you're doing something like this. And I know you'll think, oh, well, I'm never going to spill it on myself. But, yeah, there is no way I would not wear gloves. You must. Anyway, so we've done that bit here. Now, let's get and mix it all up. And for anyone that wants to know, this stick blender I have is a little brawn, and you can see that its little label is almost worn off. I will get a really big tall one soon. Just give it a little bit of a tap, and that usually will release any air bubbles. So now I have actually poured off 2 separate containers. So this is the big one. So now we're just going to add the blue mica into this one, and then I'm going to get this one all mixed up. And we'll make sure this one's gorgeous. And I do know that my blend of fragrances do not discolor, so I'm okay with that. And we're going to give this one a blend first, and then we'll be on to the second colours. When I'm doing a big batch like this, I always make sure that the big one is the one we're going to mix first, because usually the small ones will come to trace much faster. So just give it a little mix as well, and let's go. Right, this is mixed, so let's pop in part of our fragrance. I will add in majority into this one because this is the largest batch, remember? Now, remember, when you're making massive batches, you will need to stir this for quite some time. And what colour you see here will not be the end result. All right, so I know that is pretty good. I'm just going to set that one aside for a tiny bit. Let's get on to the next one. So the biggest one is going to be the orange. So how about we'll start with this one that's a tiny bit smaller. Now let's add in our yellow. We just want a little bit of yellow in this one. And we'll give it a blend. Now let's pour this in. So we have done the blue, and now of course we have our yellow. So let's just give the yellow a little mix, and then we're going to pop it in. So I'm sure you can see how gorgeous that is looking. And now let's go and do the next one. So I'll leave that sit here for a minute, and then we are going to organize the top. So this is the last one here, everybody. And of course we are going to be putting in this last gorgeous color. So let's pop in all of this one in here. And this one is just literally going to go on the top. And we'll give this one a mix too. If you want to do the splattering kind of look on top to get a bit of a texture, I definitely suggest that you just keep a tiny bit of each colour, and then we can spray that on the top, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Let's just move the camera over a bit. Now let's add this in on the top. And of course it is going to go under the bottom, which is fine. That's kind of what we want anyway. And we're just going to slowly drip it in. There is no right or wrong. And you can see here how at the top I've made these colours, because later on we can make a gorgeous pattern if there's some sitting on the top. You know, and the higher you pour from, then that means, you know, the more it's going to go down the bottom as well. So I'm just doing it super light on the top, just so that I can make a pattern in a minute. So now let's start and do the top. You need to let the top settle a little bit, everybody. So, you know, if you don't let it settle, you won't be able to do this. Let's open up this baby. And we will see what we think. Oh, it's looking good. let's go and cut this gorgeous slab of soap and see what all of our work has done. So we're going to pop it through this splitter machine, which a lovely lady, Leanne, bought this actually for me, one of my YouTube gorgeous friends, and I'm just so grateful that she got it for me. She got it for me some time ago, and it was just really nice of her. And I really do love it, because at the time I honestly could not afford to buy one. So I was just cutting with a knife and then cutting with, you know, a little one that my husband had tried to make for me as well. So, and you know, Leanne knows I'm so grateful. And anyway, so now let's go and cut it. So out of this, I will get 5 loaves. It depends on how wide you want your bar of soap to be, to how many loaves you're going to get. But for me, mine is a tall and slim sort of bar, and it's just the size that I wanted it to be. But you can choose whatever you like. So just choose the size that works best for you. And out of this, I get 5, like I said, 5 loaves, and I'll get roughly about 60 bars of soap in this soap one. And this particular mould that I'm using actually comes from AU Soap Cutters, and that is actually on Etsy, and Vinny is the man that creates these, and they're a beautiful mould. The silicone is amazing, like really good quality if anyone is looking for one. So just head over to Etsy, and I'll put the link down in the description for Vinny's soap mould if anybody is interested. And also the machine comes from Vinny as well, so I'll pop in all of the links. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you on the next video, and make sure you have a lovely day and a nice to somebody today, tomorrow, and of course the next day. Bye everyone.